Welcome back to the channel. I'm Johan, and today on Project Honda Element, we have something very special for you. Now, when I started this channel, I thought that this particular Element series was going to be about a flip and a sale, but I have a better idea, so let's go. Bought a Honda Element for $1,000 with a stolen catalytic converter. It's going to be a flip, put into, make four. Didn't really work out that way. Ended up spending a little bit more money, wanted to do the car right. But that being said, I found a really great place for this car to go. I found it a new home that isn't a flip. My good friend Ryan, his girlfriend's 17-year-old daughter needs her first car. She's got, $4,000, $4,500, and she's looking to find something that's reliable, good gas mileage, and will work for her for a long time. In today's video, Grace is gonna see the car in the day for the first time. So I got this Element, $1,000, and I want to put another $1,000 into it. $2,000 in, $4,000 out. Seems like a pretty good idea to me. I can do the work, so let's get to it. And that's what this series was about. Well, I ended up having to replace a little bit more of the suspension than I thought. Costs went up, as well as I broke a couple of my tools along the way. My shop vac and my pressure washer died on me. So a little bit more money was spent. One of my roommates from my first house in college, we called it the Learning Center. He's been dating a woman for the last several years. She has 3 girls, and her daughter Grace is 17, and after school she's been working and saving up her money to buy her first car. So it made a lot more sense to me to sell the Element to Grace at a price that she could afford than it did for me to try and make an extra $200 or $500 on a sale. She needed it more than I did. So as you're about to see, instead of a Project Element flip, I found a new home for this car with a family friend. So this is it. This car is going to Grace. She's 17. This is going to be her first car. She's a good driver. We already test drove it one night. She's never even seen the car during the day. And I don't think she quite understands how much work we've put into this on this channel to get this car ready for her. She didn't know it was for her. I didn't know it was for her either. But, the universe put us together, and this is what's going to happen. So she's getting a great car. We're going to do her first car sale, have her fill out the pink, make sure that she does everything, it's going in her name. This is going to be a great experience, so come along for the ride. On that ride, we're going to show her a couple things about how to work on the vehicle, show her how to check the oil. I'm going to give her the first used car buying experience that most kids never get. Maybe you guys can learn something here as well about what to look for in a used vehicle if you are a young kid and you're looking for your first ride. Let's go.
So this car was pretty dirty when I got my hands on it. It had sat for a while, and they did not keep it very clean on the inside. I scrubbed and scrubbed, pulled the carpets out, pressure washed them. It was pretty nasty, but it came out looking really clean. And to clean off the rest of these panels, I just used good old-fashioned soap and water.
So this is it, folks. Final walkthrough. We are nice and clean, ready for this car to be delivered to a 17-year-old young lady for her first vehicle. Everything seems to be in pretty good order. Got all kinds of new gear on here. Brand new tires, less than 9 months old. Did you know that tires are only rated for 5 years? Well, right here, if you look, there's actually what we call a date code, corresponding to the 34th week of 2019. All tires are required to have that marking somewhere on there, so you know that these were under a year old. You also want to make sure that they match. Sometimes you'll get a tire that will be a couple weeks off or maybe 6 months off from the old one, and that's okay. You just want to make sure that they're all within, say, a year of each other. If you can see it down here, we did brand new end links, brand new strut combos, brand new Honda sway bar bushings, brand new strut combos up front. The tie rods, the part that moved the steering piece back and forth, they were okay. We were able to pull those out, so we didn't need to replace those. It did, however, need an alignment. Did the oil change? Did the air filter change? Battery is good. It's got a date on it. Some of the things you can look for: new parts, so a new belt and a new alternator. Probably done the same time that the battery was done because there was a failure. Some of the things that still need to be done to this vehicle are the motor mounts. There's 2 there, and then there's one all the way in the back of the engine back there. There are plenty of aftermarket ones online, but that's a process for Grace and I to do on another episode of Kids and Cars. You can see that it's a nice looking cabin. Got our double din in there with a backup camera. She wants to put a sub in here, something fierce. Unfortunately, I think we're out of time today because I need to go pick up a vehicle because as soon as I give this one to Grace, I'm out of a car. Back seats are in good shape. They fold up, they fold down, everything works. She got a major detail. We did an iron oxide on the roof and cleaned all that up. We re-blacked all of our vinyls and they came out looking really nice. Lights are actually in good shape, don't need to change those. So for the kids in cars checklist, this thing kind of knocks all of the categories. It's smogged and registered and has good tires and good shocks and good brakes. It's got a backup camera for safety. It's got a double din. This little car is going to a lovely young lady and she is getting a great deal. We'll wait for her to get here and show her around. All right, so here we are. Grace is gonna take a look at her car for the first time. She's got special keys and everything. She specifically asked for a Boba Fett keychain, so here we go. She hasn't seen the car during the day. We test drove it at night. It's yours. All right. Yeah, but go ahead, get in. Make sure you, you know, we're testing it. Yeah, you test drove it before, but you still want to make sure it's going to run before you buy it, right? Before you hand any cash over, kids. Hey, Grace, so what do you know about cars? If you were going to look at this car and tell me all the things you know about it, what do you know about cars?
I don't know very much about them. I mean, I know not to buy one with rust.
That's good. That's a good start.
And it only gets good gas mileage.
Okay.
And one that runs.
What do you plan on using the car for?
Just driving to work and then also to my dad's house, and that's it. So not very far.
And what are some of the things you want to learn about your new vehicle or about cars in general?
I mean, I want to learn what to look for when I buy a car. So
Okay.
I don't buy one that is going to break on me right after I buy it, and things that I don't know about, like the engine or anything like that.
All right, we can help with that. And what about some of the upgrades you want to do?
Well, I do want to put subwoofers in it because I think that'd be really cool.
Subwoofers, more than one?
Well, probably just one, but
Yeah, I saw you had in your garage, you had a 12-inch sub in there. Yeah.
It's pretty big.
Do you know if you have the amp that goes with it?
I don't know. It was in my mom's old 4Runner.
Got it.
So
Okay.
could be anywhere.
Well, we'll figure that out too. We'll be able to help you out with that. I know we didn't have enough time to do it today, but when you come back, we'll definitely teach you.
Yay!
So, I guess the first question when it comes to lessons on cars and kids is, do you know how to open the hood?
No, I don't.
Okay. So it's generally always going to be on the driver's pillar. That's called the A pillar there. This is the B pillar. That'll be the C pillar. So if you go on the driver's side A pillar and go to the floor, you'll find it.
Here?
Yep. And you just pull it forwards towards you and that opens the hood. All right. So now you got to figure out how to open the rest of the hood. So you got to find it. I find that if you slide your hand left or right, you'll figure out which way it goes. There you go. Excellent. There's actually a secondary spot for when you're working on your vehicle. You can actually raise the hood even higher if you put it over there.
Ooh.
Do you know where to check the oil?
No.
Okay, we'll come back. Let me grab a napkin. So Grace is gonna learn how to check her oil for the very first time.
Yay!
All right, so on this particular engine, you see that orange device there? If you look real closely, it's got a picture of the universal symbol for oil on it. So the dipstick runs all the way down into the crankcase, and that's where the oil sits. So as you pull it out, you're gonna check the end. So go ahead and pull it out and then wipe it off completely and put it back in. Do you know why we wipe it off and put it back in? You do that because that's not necessarily a proper way to check it. You want to wipe it clean and then dip it in there and check it so that you know exactly that it was a clean swipe. So that's what the napkin's for. You also want to check the color of your oil. I just did the oil change on this to synthetic oil, so that's actually a pretty darn good color. When it gets black, like black, that's when you need to change it. So this is a really good engine, but should last you, say, 5,000 miles for doing an oil change. Go ahead and slide it back in. Sometimes it can be difficult, but yeah, sometimes you might even need to use a second hand and kind of get it in there. And now stick it all the way in and then let it sit for about a second and pull it out. And as you do that, you want to try and not to like clang it around in there so that you get a good reading. You don't have to be that gentle, but what you're looking at as you look at it is the two little dots. You can see that the oil is up to the first dot. that means that it's full. If it's somewhere in the middle, it needs a quart of oil. If it's there, it's really low. So let's say you thought your oil was low. You come out a month from now, you check your oil and it's low. You're not gonna wanna just go, oh, and dump an entire quart in there. You wanna actually, you know, put a half quart in there and then run your engine for a minute and then let it, you know, kind of settle and then check it again. And so your oil's good. You can go ahead and put that back in there. And for you kids out there, this is all trial and error, and this is all, yep, you got it. See, it's sometimes pull it out and pull it back in if it's fighting you. Also, yeah, and keep in mind that that kind of is your indicator as to which way it's supposed to go in there. You got it, perfect. So this is a very unique engine. Honda makes this engine. It's called a K-series engine. It has a timing chain in it, which means that the internal portions of the motor that spin, you don't actually have to replace them like you would on many other vehicles. So this engine doesn't need to be ripped apart for like 200,000 or 300,000 miles, which is really good for you for your first vehicle. So, all right, so as we continue down the road of what to check on your car, what are we checking next, Grace?
The air filter.
All right. Yep, you can keep going. These screws are unique on these air filters where they actually won't come out of the box. So you see how that's stuck in there? They make that this way on purpose so that you can never lose those screws.
Ooh,
right?
that is handy.
It is. Is this your first time with a drill gun?
Of this type, yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty cool, I like it.
All right. This is the youth of America learning how to work on their own vehicle right now. There we go. All right, there's one more. Can you find it? All right. Yep, you got it.
I don't know if I can get that.
So that is a bit of a tricky angle.
Yeah.
If you can't like squeeze it in there, sometimes you got to do it. But as you're finding out, you can't get in there. So we're going to need to get an extension or a long screwdriver. So we'll be right back. Right, we're back at it. So we seem to have lost our bit in the car. So I went and I grabbed our small socket set here, and Grace was good enough to find the 8mm metric that fits on here so that she can unscrew that last screw down there. These screws are unique on a Honda vehicle because they're actually hex and have the Phillips in them, so you can actually use either one. So it looks like Grace has got that about off. So Grace, if you want to go ahead and check your air filter. So how's your filter look, Grace?
Super clean.
Super clean. It's less than a month old. It's brand new. All right, so Grace, we checked the air filter, checked the transmission fluid. It's good as well. That is right down here. We already did that off camera. That's all right. But as you put these back, you'll see that they fit into a particular place. You have a set of metric for working on JDM cars, or like overseas cars. Japanese domestic market is what they call that. But basically any car other than American cars use metric. The other ones are the 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/4, that kind of stuff. And that's for working on American vehicles. But you put all your tools away, and for your new vehicle, you get a new set of tools. Yay! Woo! You're welcome. All right, Grace. Did you learn something about your new car?
I did, yes.
All right. What did you learn?
I learned about the air filter, and the oil, and the brake fluid.
Excellent. All right. Learning new stuff. Let's go. Close her up. I'm going to move a little closer, but I have a few questions for you, Grace.
Okay.
Safety features. How do you turn on your lights? Okay. Excellent. And you know how to check the hood already. So we're good there. How do you connect your phone for CarPlay? Nope, you're gonna plug directly into the USB over here on the stereo. But these are things, you know, like if you need navigation, you wanna do that before you get driving. How do you dim the lights on your dashboard? Somewhere up in what we call your instrument cluster. You see these two little bar nub things that you have here?
Yeah.
So go ahead and start pressing those and see what happens. So, do you know what that is?
No.
So kids, you have trip meters on your car. So if you want to know how many miles you're driving, you can reset that. So you can press it quickly to toggle through. If you push and hold, it will reset it. The other one that you see over here, go ahead and press that one. There you go. Lights need to be on, and then you see how it's auto dimming your dash. Do you know about your overdrive in your vehicle?
No.
Okay, you see that little button underneath the shift lever? Yeah. That is an overdrive, so it changes the final gearing. Understand that button, if you need a little more pep and power, that's how you do it. You press that and it'll kind of downshift the car and you have a little bit more RPMs. So oh, I'm going 50 and I'm getting on the freeway. Man. Yeah. All right. Let's go do some paperwork. All All right, here we go. First car.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of Project Element, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the final episode next week where Grace learns what makes the element so special.